In the quiet shadows of the Macedonian court, Alexander of Macedon learned about the world not through the hardened lessons of kingship alone, but through the philosophical musings of Aristotle, his renowned tutor. As the son of King Philip II, Alexander grew up knowing he was destined for greatness. Yet, he didn't simply inherit a legacy. He forged one through a relentless pursuit of his own vision. This is the story of how a young student, guided by philosophy and driven by ambition, became a sovereign whose influence would ripple across history. Chapter 1. The Seeds of Destiny. From a young age, Alexander was drawn to tales of mythic heroes. His mother, Olympias, a strong and devout woman, often told him stories of gods and legends, especially of Achilles, the great warrior of the Trojan War. This spark of inspiration was fanned by Aristotle, who exposed him to the works of Homer, philosophy, and science. Unlike other princes who might focus on the skills of warfare alone, Alexander was encouraged to think deeply about the nature of leadership, justice, and human potential. Aristotle taught him to see the world as a tapestry of cultures and ideas rather than merely territories to conquer. The idea of a unified world, though a concept only half-formed in Alexander's young mind, began to germinate. He envisioned not just a kingdom, but an empire, a fusion of East and West. Chapter 2. In his father's shadow. Alexander's father, King Philip II, was a formidable leader who unified Macedonia and strengthened it through a blend of diplomatic acumen and military prowess. Under Philip's rule, Macedonia became a force to be reckoned with, rising from a fragmented state to a unified kingdom. Philip's influence on Alexander was profound, instilling in him both the skills of a warrior and the strategic foresight of a king. However, Alexander often felt eclipsed by his father's shadow. Their relationship was marked by admiration, tension, and, at times, rivalry. Philip's grand ambitions to conquer the Persian Empire both inspired and challenged Alexander. When Philip was assassinated at a wedding banquet, Alexander ascended to the throne at the young age of 20. Now, he was no longer merely a prince with dreams. He was a king with the power to realize them. Chapter 3. The Persian Campaign. Alexander's first test as a sovereign was in solidifying his control over the Greek states and unifying his forces. But his true ambition lay beyond the Aegean Sea, in the vast lands of Persia. The Persian Empire, ruled by Darius III, was the superpower of the ancient world. Taking on Persia was a daunting task, but for Alexander, it was a step toward his vision of uniting East and West. At the Battle of Granicus, Alexander demonstrated his tactical brilliance, leading his troops to victory and securing the western coast of Asia Minor. The subsequent battles, the Battle of Issus and the famed Siege of Tyre, cemented his reputation as an invincible leader. Each victory brought him closer to Darius, and with each conquest, Alexander's army witnessed his transformation from a young king to a powerful conqueror. Alexander's approach to ruling the territories he conquered was unique. Rather than imposing Greek culture and customs, he respected local traditions, merging them with his own. This tactic was not only politically wise but also reflective of his deep-seated belief in a world that could embrace diversity rather than suppress it. Chapter 4. The God King of Egypt. After crossing into Egypt, Alexander was hailed as a liberator, freeing the Egyptians from Persian rule. In Memphis, the Egyptian priests declared him the son of Ammonius, equating him with a god. For Alexander, this recognition was more than a political strategy. It affirmed his belief in his own divinely ordained mission. In Egypt, he founded the city of Alexandria, a future beacon of culture and knowledge. His vision for Alexandria was clear. It would be a place where Greek and Egyptian cultures merged, a center for commerce, learning, and philosophy. He began to see himself not only as a conqueror but as a builder of civilizations. The title of God King was one Alexander grew into with fervor. He had always harbored a belief in his destiny, but Egypt's acceptance of him as divine solidified his perception of himself as a chosen ruler, a figure not only of mortal power but of spiritual significance. This belief would later lead him to make decisions that were as much mystical as they were military. Chapter 5. India and the Search for Truth. Alexander's journey did not end in Persia or Egypt. With his sights set on the end of the known world, he crossed into India. The Indian campaign was fraught with challenges. His army, exhausted from years of campaigning, faced unfamiliar climates, new terrain, and fierce resistance. The Battle of the Hydaspes, fought against King Porus, was one of Alexander's most challenging encounters. Porus's elephants and fierce resistance marked a departure from the warfare Alexander was used to. Despite these obstacles, he emerged victorious and, in a gesture of respect, returned Porus's kingdom to him, recognizing in his adversary a kindred spirit of bravery. In India, Alexander encountered Eastern philosophies that spoke of inner peace and non-attachment, ideas that both fascinated and confounded him. His dialogues with Indian sages, or gymnosophists, were intense and revealing. Although Alexander did not fully embrace these ideas, his encounters with Indian philosophers left an imprint on him. Here, amid the foreign lands and strange philosophies, he grappled with the meaning of his conquests and his own nature. Was he merely a conqueror, or was he, as the Egyptians and Persians saw him, a ruler destined to bring unity to the world? Chapter 6. The Long Road Home. After years of relentless expansion, Alexander's army, weary and longing for home, refused to march further east. Though disappointed, Alexander acquiesced and led his men back toward Babylon. His return journey was marked by a sense of unfulfilled ambition. The world he had conquered was vast, but he had not yet seen its edges. Upon his return to Babylon, Alexander began laying plans for the future. He envisioned an empire where Greek, Persian, Egyptian, and Indian cultures would merge. He arranged marriages between his soldiers and Persian women, hoping to solidify unity through bloodlines. He dreamed of more cities, more places where knowledge and culture would flourish. Yet his health, worn down by years of campaigning, began to falter. Chapter 7. The Dream Left Unfinished. At 32, Alexander fell ill and died under mysterious circumstances. Some said he was poisoned. Others believed it was a fever brought on by exhaustion and wounds from battle. Whatever the cause, his death marked the end of an era. Alexander left no clear heir, and his generals divided the empire, each taking a piece for themselves. The dream of a united world, of a kingdom where East met West, faded into fragmentation. Yet, Alexander's legacy endured. The cities he founded, especially Alexandria, became centers of learning, blending Greek and Eastern knowledge in a way that would influence generations to come. His life was one of conquest, yes, but also one of curiosity and vision. He was not merely a king who sought power. He was a student who became sovereign, a dreamer whose ideas of cultural fusion left an indelible mark on history. Alexander's path from student to sovereign was marked by ambition, brilliance, and complexity. Though his empire did not survive him, the ideals he championed, the blending of cultures, the pursuit of knowledge, the belief in a world larger than borders, continued to shape the ancient world. In this way, his journey from pupil of Aristotle to god-king of the known world remains one of history's most enduring stories. This story arc outlines Alexander's journey, touching on his philosophical upbringing, military conquests, cultural encounters, and eventual legacy. Each chapter highlights not only his achievements but also his evolving vision of a